In the freezing darkness of the Arctic Ocean, 2,000 meters below the surface where the water is colder than your refrigerator and the pressure would crush a car into a cube, scientists pulled up a creature that should not exist. Its flesh was gray and bloated, its movements sluggish, almost lazy, and when they examined its eyes they found something that made them stop cold parasites, permanently attached, dangling like pale worms from each eyeball, rendering the shark nearly blind. But that wasn't the shocking part. When they analyzed its tissues, measured the proteins in its eye lenses, and ran the numbers through radiocarbon dating, the results came back impossible. This shark, this scarred, half-blind scavenger drifting through the void, was over 400 years old. It had been born before Shakespeare died, before telescopes revealed the moons of Jupiter, before the first settlers reached America. And it was still hunting, still surviving, still outliving everything else on Earth. This is the Greenland shark, and it holds the record as the longest-lived vertebrate ever discovered. While most animals burn through their lives in years or decades, this creature operates on a timescale we can barely comprehend. Some individuals swimming in the Arctic today were alive when the world was ruled by wooden ships and candlelight. They have outlasted empires, outlasted wars, outlasted entire human civilizations, rising and falling above the surface while they continued their slow drift through the abyss. And the deeper you dig into how they survive, the stranger it gets, because the Greenland shark didn't just stumble into longevity. It engineered it through one of the most extreme evolutionary bargains ever made. To understand why the Greenland shark lives so impossibly long, you have to understand the world it inhabits. The Arctic Ocean is not a place of abundance, it is a place of extremes. Temperatures hover just above freezing, sometimes dipping below 0 Celsius, kept liquid only by the salt in the water. Sunlight barely penetrates these depths for most of the year, and when it does, it arrives weak and filtered through kilometers of ice and ocean. This is a desert of nutrients where food is scarce, and every calorie must be conserved. In this environment, speed is a luxury the Greenland shark cannot afford. It drifts through the water at less than 1 kilometer per hour, making it one of the slowest swimming fish in the ocean. For context, a human walking at a leisurely pace moves faster than this apex predator at full speed. But here's the thing, that slowness is not a weakness, it is a strategy. The Greenland shark has traded speed for time. Its metabolism operates at a rate so slow it borders on suspended animation. Its heart beats only once every few seconds, pumping cold, thick blood through a body that grows at a glacial pace. Scientists estimate these sharks grow less than 1 centimeter per year, which means a 5-meter-long adult has been accumulating length and mass for centuries. This is not a creature that lives fast and dies young. This is a creature that has mastered the art of patience on a scale no other vertebrate can match. And yet, despite moving like a shadow in molasses, the Greenland shark is an apex predator. Its stomach contents tell a strange story: seals, fish, even pieces of reindeer and polar bear, suggesting it scavenges from carcasses that sink through the ice. But it also hunts, and this is where the mystery deepens. Because how does a nearly blind shark that swims slower than you walk manage to catch seals, some of the most agile swimmers in the ocean? The answer lies in ambush. Seals must surface to breathe, and when they do, they enter a moment of vulnerability. The Greenland shark waits beneath the ice in the freezing, dark, positioned near breathing holes, and when a seal descends, it strikes not with speed, but with inevitability. By the time the seal realizes the danger, it is already too late. This hunting strategy reflects a broader principle of survival. In the deep cold, patience always outlasts panic. The shark's body is built for endurance, not bursts of energy. Its flesh is soft, almost gelatinous, lacking the firm muscle of faster predators. Its bones are flexible, its movements economical. Every adaptation is designed to minimize energy expenditure, to stretch each meal as far as possible across weeks or months of waiting. In a world where the next meal might not come for a very long time, the Greenland shark has become a master of doing nothing and doing it for centuries. But the real secret to its longevity lies deeper in the biochemistry of cold itself. Temperature is one of the most powerful governors of aging. Chemical reactions that drive metabolism, that produce energy, that also produce damage happen faster in warmth and slower in cold. In the near-freezing waters of the Arctic, the Greenland shark's cells operate in slow motion. The free radicals that accumulate and damage DNA in other animals are produced at a fraction of the rate. The cellular wear and tear that leads to aging happens, but it happens so slowly that centuries pass before it becomes critical. The shark's tissues have evolved protective mechanisms as well antifreeze proteins that prevent ice crystals from forming in its blood. Unique compounds that stabilize cell membranes under extreme cold and pressure. It is a biological blueprint designed not for a single lifetime, but for many lifetimes stacked end to end. And here's what breaks you: these sharks don't even reach sexual maturity until they are 150 years old. Think about that for a moment. An individual Greenland shark must survive for a century and a half before it can reproduce. This is an evolutionary gamble, unlike anything else in the vertebrate world. Most animals reproduce early and often flooding the gene pool with as many offspring as possible before they die. The Greenland shark does the opposite. It waits, it endures, and only after surviving more than a human lifetime does it pass on its genes. This strategy only works in an environment stable enough and predictable enough that waiting pays off. The Arctic abyss has remained largely unchanged for millions of years, and in that stability the Greenland shark found a way to outlast everything. But longevity comes with a cost. The Greenland shark's flesh is toxic, loaded with a compound called trimethylamine oxide, which helps it regulate pressure and maintain flexibility in the cold, but also makes its meat poisonous to most predators, including humans. Inuit populations have traditionally fermented the meat for months to break down the toxins, creating a dish called a carl, but even then, it is an acquired taste, described as one of the worst foods on Earth. The shark's slow growth means it takes decades to recover from injuries. A scar from a ship propeller or a fishing net can remain visible for a century, and those parasites attached to its eyes, the copepods that dangle and glow faintly in the dark, they are permanent. Passengers stealing the shark's vision, but possibly attracting prey with their bioluminescence, turning a disability into a strange kind of lure. This brings us to the deeper question: why did the Greenland shark choose this path? Evolution doesn't plan ahead, but it does respond to constraints. In the deep, cold Arctic, where food is scarce and competition is low, there is no advantage to living fast. Speed costs energy, energy requires food, and food is rare, but time is abundant. By slowing everything down, by stretching its life across centuries, the Greenland shark sidesteps the race entirely. It doesn't compete with faster predators, it simply outlasts them. While other species burn bright and fade, the Greenland shark smolders on century after century, drifting through the dark. As we stand in the twilight zone of our own ecological history, watching species vanish at rates not seen since the age of the dinosaurs, the Greenland shark remains a reminder that survival is not always about strength or speed. Sometimes it is about patience, about endurance, about the willingness to wait in the cold and the dark while the world above churns and changes. These sharks were alive when whalers first entered the Arctic, when the ice was thicker, when the oceans were quieter. They have watched the world warm, the ice retreat, the ships multiply, and still they drift slow and silent through the abyss. In the end, the Greenland shark chose to outlive everything else, not through dominance, but through refusal. It refused to hurry, it refused to burn out, it refused to play by the rules that govern most life on Earth. It is a living fossil, not because it hasn't changed, but because it found a strategy so effective, the change became unnecessary, and in doing so it became the longest-lived vertebrate on the planet. A creature that measures its existence not in heartbeats, but in centuries. A mind, if we can call it that has seen more of Earth's history than any other animal alive today. The Greenland shark doesn't just survive the ocean, it outlasts it one slow drift at a time across the endless cold of eternity.